Atlanta, the city of music, money, and power couples. But behind the glitz and glamour, scandals lurk like shadows waiting to explode. And this time, it wasn't just a headline, it was a full-blown implosion. Tiny Harris, the queen of ATL, didn't just walk into court, she detonated the place like a ticking time bomb. A courtroom meltdown that left jaws on the floor, cameras flashing, and the internet spiraling into pure chaos. And at the center of it all, not just her husband T.I., but her own longtime friend Shekinah. That's right, this wasn't just betrayal, it was betrayal from the inside. And the question the entire world is asking right now is this: who leaked the tape and who's telling the truth? Let's start with the moment everything went nuclear. Imagine a courtroom buzzing with reporters, lawyers flipping through thick binders, and fans waiting outside just to catch a glimpse of Atlanta royalty. For years, people whispered about cracks in T.I. and Tiny's marriage. We'd heard the cheating rumors, the side stories, the questionable friendships, but nothing prepared anyone for what happened when the word Shekinah and affair echoed through those courtroom walls. Witnesses say Tiny snapped instantly. She didn't just shed a tear, she screamed. She didn't just break down quietly, she called people out, trembling, her voice echoing across the room. "Y'all think this is funny? Y'all think I didn't see this coming?" she allegedly shouted, clutching her lawyer's arm like the walls were closing in. T.I., he sat silent, whispering nervously to his attorneys. And Shekinah? Nowhere to be found. She vanished like smoke, leaving behind nothing but questions. The jury was stunned, reporters were scribbling notes like their pens were on fire, and outside, fans were already chanting for justice. The energy wasn't just emotional, it was explosive, a storm that couldn't be stopped. But what exactly set Tiny off? What was the so-called secret tape that had everyone in shock? According to insiders, the ones who thrive in messy group chats, the tape allegedly showed T.I. and Shekinah in situations that were just a little too cozy to explain away. We're talking late-night hotel lobbies, receipts from fancy dinners, and even leaked voice memos that sounded intimate. Too intimate. And here's the jaw-dropper. The tape didn't come from an outsider trying to take the Harris family down. No, the whispers say it came from inside Tiny's own circle. Someone close enough to know where to look, someone bold enough to let it out, someone who played Judas in designer shoes. And when the tape was mentioned in court, Tiny lost it. To her, it wasn't just betrayal, it was proof. Proof that not only was her husband's loyalty in question, but her best friend's as well. Think about that for a second. You invite someone into your home, you feed them, you trust them with your heart, and then one day, you find out they may have been sneaking around with your man. That's not just betrayal, that's humiliation. Now, in 2025, scandals don't live in the courtroom, they live online. And once the story hit the web, the internet caught fire. Hashtags like Tiny Breakdown, Shekinah Exposed, and Tip Betrayal shot to the top of X, within minutes. Fans were divided. Instagram comments turned into war zones, and gossip bloggers were licking their chops like wolves circling prey. Shekinah tried to defend herself. She hopped on Instagram Live sitting in her car with her lashes done and nails tapping against the steering wheel, cackling, "Y'all always believe the lies. They mad 'cause I ain't scared to speak my truth." The fans weren't buying it. The comments section was brutal. "Girl, you guilty. Tiny put you on and this is how you repay her," another added. And while Shekinah laughed, the internet painted her as the villain. Memes started spreading like wildfire. One had her face photoshopped onto a clown. Another had T.I. as a snake slithering around a microphone. T.I. didn't help his case either. He posted a smug selfie with the caption, "The devil busy but got busier." Instead of calming things down, it only added fuel to the fire. Fans called it classic gaslighting, accusing him of trying to flip the narrative instead of facing the music. By this point, the Harris family wasn't just trending, they were dominating every conversation online. And then came the so-called receipts. Alleged text messages leaked showing T.I. and Shekinah arranging meetups, with T.I. allegedly writing, "Keep it low-key, you know how she is, don't bring your phone." Screenshots of supposed bank transfers started circulating, with thousands of dollars labeled as consulting fees. And the cherry on top? An audio clip where a man, sounding eerily like T.I., says, "We gotta keep this quiet, she's already suspicious, don't post nothing dumb." Now, were these receipts real? Probably not. Some fans even proved the audio was AI generated, manipulated to sound authentic. But in the world of celebrity gossip, perception is reality. It didn't matter if it was fake or real. What mattered was how people reacted. And the reaction was clear. Shekinah was the snake, T.I. was the manipulator, and Tiny was the tragic queen betrayed by them both. Conspiracy theories took it even further. Some fans swore Shekinah had always been jealous of Tiny's fame and lifestyle, that she secretly wanted her spotlight. Others claimed T.I. orchestrated the entire thing, manipulating both women to feed his ego. And then came the wildest theory of all, that Tiny herself planted the tape to trap T.I., using the scandal as her ultimate revenge. Was this really heartbreak, or was it a master plan years in the making? The internet couldn't get enough. As the chaos raged online, something unexpected happened. Tiny, who had always been seen as the supportive wife standing silently by T.I.'s side, became the face of resilience. Fans started calling her the tragic queen of ATL. Murals popped up in the city with her face painted in gold, the words "Loyalty ain't a game" spray-painted beneath. Outside courthouses, fans chanted "Justice for Tiny," holding signs and blasting T.I.'s old songs remixed into memes about betrayal. And then came, after days of silence, Tiny finally broke her own. Sitting in a velvet chair, dressed in all black, she posted a video message, calm, composed, and devastating. She said, "I gave my loyalty to people who didn't deserve it. I stood by when I should have walked away. But no more. From this day forward, I choose me. I choose peace. And I won't let betrayal define me." The internet erupted, millions of views in hours. Fans flooded her comments with hearts, crowns, and the word queen. Celebrities like Candy Burris and Monica posted cryptic messages of support. Tiny wasn't just surviving, she was rewriting her story. In that moment, she wasn't just the victim, she was the heroine of her own saga. But the fallout didn't stop at social media. It hit wallets, reputations, and legacies. Sponsorships started pulling out. T.I. lost deals with major brands, while whispers of investigations into his finances got louder. Shekinah's brand partnerships vanished overnight, companies citing image concerns. Even Tiny's projects, though she was the victim, saw delays as networks questioned whether the drama was too toxic for advertisers. And then came the lawsuits. Gossip blogs claimed Tiny's legal team was preparing to file 3 cases. One against T.I. for marital misconduct, one against Shekinah for emotional damages, and one against the mysterious tape broker for invasion of privacy. It was dubbed the lawsuit trifecta. Meanwhile, rumors swirled that the Fulton County DA was quietly probing T.I.'s finances, with words like tax evasion and racketeering floating in the air. A cheating scandal had snowballed into something far more dangerous. The family drama was no less brutal. T.I. reportedly tried to hold a family meeting at his mansion to smooth things over with his kids, but according to insiders, it didn't go well. One of his sons allegedly told him, "We ain't stupid, Dad. We see the blogs." That single line went viral, with fans calling the kids the realest Harris family members. And Shekinah? She couldn't stay quiet if her life depended on it. On Instagram Live, through tears, she sobbed, "Y'all act like I'm the devil. They using me as the scapegoat because I'm easy to blame." But viewers swore she slipped up, muttering, "I told him not to let it get recorded." Boom! That one phrase was clipped, remixed, and turned into a TikTok audio trend. Fans didn't just think she was guilty, they thought she confessed on Live. What started as whispers of a secret tape had turned into a full-blown cultural moment. Late-night comedians cracked jokes about Tip and Tiny turning into tape and tragedy. CNN ran segments about betrayal in the age of social media. Protesters gathered outside Atlanta courthouses, holding mock trials and dressing in costumes mocking T.I. as the king of betrayal. This wasn't just a scandal, it was entertainment, it was gossip, it was tragedy, and it was history in the making. And yet, beneath all the memes and hashtags, this was real life. A marriage on the brink, a friendship shattered, and a family caught in the middle. Tiny had become a symbol of loyalty and heartbreak. Tiny was painted as the manipulative king, and Shekinah was crowned the internet's villain. But here's the truth about scandals like these. They never really end. They just fade into whispers, waiting for the next viral moment to replace them. But the shadow of this betrayal will always follow them. However, imagine a quiet night in Atlanta. The kind of night that where the city glows like a jewel, neon lights flickering like distant stars against the sky. But behind those lights, behind the polished facades and gated mansions, secrets often simmer. And on this particular night, one secret burst wide open, shattering the fragile balance of family, fame, and trust. The Harris family, T.I. and Tiny, had been a symbol of resilience in the entertainment world. Through trials, controversies, and even reality TV, they had built an empire that looked unshakable. Together, they were the couple that preached loyalty, family values, and perseverance in the face of chaos. They weren't perfect, but they were supposed to be solid. Until one night, when a shaky, blurry video surfaced online. And suddenly, the empire they had built seemed like it was collapsing in real time. The clip was short, grainy, filmed in a luxury hotel suite, but what it showed was enough to stop fans in their tracks. There, tangled up in the shadows of champagne bottles and half-drawn curtains, was T.I. himself, Clifford Harris, the King of the South, the voice of respect and responsibility. But he wasn't alone. Next to him, unmistakable to anyone who knew their inner circle, was Shekinah Anderson, Tiny's closest friend, the woman who had been like a sister to her. The betrayal wasn't subtle. It wasn't whispered. It was laid bare in that dimly lit room, captured forever in a clip that spread faster than anyone could have predicted. No denials, no carefully worded PR statement could undo what the world had already seen. And the internet pounced. Within hours, TikTok was flooded with stitches of the clip. People paired it with old footage of Tiny speaking about loyalty and love, twisting the knife deeper into public perception. On Instagram, heartbreak emojis and fiery threads dissected every frame, while Instagram turned it into a viral wildfire, each repost fueling the outrage. Fans felt betrayed, not just on Tiny's behalf, but on their own. Here was a man who had built his career on the foundation of respect, family, and loyalty, caught in a situation that screamed hypocrisy. How could someone who preached these values throw it away in a single night? And the frenzy didn't slow down. Hashtags surged into the trending list, memes popped up overnight, and people dug into old interviews searching for signs, cracks, or hidden truths. This wasn't just a scandal, it was a cultural moment, a digital earthquake that rattled the walls of an empire millions thought would never crumble. But Tiny Harris, she wasn't going to fade into the background. She wasn't about to swallow her pain silently and let the world write the narrative for her. No, she went straight to war. Tiny filed a $50 million lawsuit against both T.I. and Shekinah. Her accusations weren't vague. They cut straight to the heart: emotional abuse, public humiliation, and the destruction of a life she had spent decades building. That $50 million figure wasn't about greed. It was symbolic. It was the price tag she put on a broken home, on stolen peace, on the betrayal of someone she had given her whole life to. The courtroom became the news stage. Packed with reporters, fans, and cameras, it buzzed like a sold-out arena.
every word echoed like a verse in a song. Every accusation dropped like a beat. And just when people thought the drama couldn't escalate further, a new bombshell dropped. An anonymous source leaked what they claimed was Shekinah's private diary. Pages filled with raw confessions, hopes, and chilling plans. In it were promises of a new life with T.I., visions of leaving Tiny behind, and ambitions of building a new empire together. When the diary entries were read aloud in court, you could see Tiny crumble. Tears streamed down her face as she listened to her closest friend describe her as an obstacle, a stepping stone to be removed. That was the moment the scandal transformed from curiosity to tragedy. Suddenly, this wasn't just about gossip or headlines. It was about betrayal so personal, so cutting, that anyone with a heart could feel the pain radiating from Tiny. If you had been in her shoes, standing in that courtroom, hearing proof of betrayal from the two people you trusted most, would your world have stopped spinning too? But T.I.'s camp wasn't backing down. They claimed the video was fake, a deep fake designed to destroy him. They spun theories of industry enemies plotting revenge, of rival camps setting traps. Shekinah, meanwhile, painted herself as the victim. She claimed T.I. had whispered promises to her, telling her she was her future, telling her he loved her. She insisted that she never sought to hurt Tiny, that she was just as much a pawn as anyone. But the world wasn't buying it. The tension between the two women, once inseparable, now stared each other down in open court. And T.I., he was trapped in the middle of a storm he could no longer control. Tiny's legal team wasn't done. They began unleashing evidence like a carefully planned artillery strike. First came the audio recordings, a voice unmistakably belonging to T.I., whispering to Shekinah, "Keep this quiet. If this gets out, it'll burn everything we've built." The courtroom gasped. Tiny buried her face in her hands.
Then came the hotel receipts, reservations with T.I.'s name, Shekinah listed as a guest, concrete proof. The lawyer thundered, "This isn't guesswork. This is destruction of trust. This is humiliation on a global scale." And then the money trail. Leaked bank transfers revealed thousands of dollars flowing from T.I. to Shekinah over the years. Payoffs or hush money. The implications exploded across the internet. As the evidence stacked higher, the tension inside the courtroom snapped. A hotel worker testified they had personally seen T.I. and Shekinah checking in together multiple times. That's when T.I. exploded. He slammed his fists, shouting about lies, about setups, about conspiracies. The judge threatened contempt. Cameras caught the entire meltdown, and within hours, the clip was everywhere online. Outside, the courthouse turned into a circus. Protesters chanted for Tiny, news vans clogged the streets, helicopters hovered overhead. Influencers live-streamed the drama, dissecting every tear, every gasp, every outburst. The world wasn't just watching, they were participating. The scandal fractured the public. Some believed T.I. was the victim of a setup, a target of industry enemies trying to take him down. Others saw it for what it looked like. Betrayal, plain and simple. But the overwhelming tide of sympathy went to Tiny. She was lifted up as a symbol of resilience. Murals of her face appeared across Atlanta, captions screaming strength and justice. Hashtags flooded timelines. Hashtag stand with Tiny. Hashtag justice for Tiny. Tiny wasn't just a betrayed wife anymore. She was the queen of heartbreak, the woman who stood tall despite being cut down by those closest to her. And the fallout? It was brutal. T.I.'s career began to crumble. Endorsements vanished. Shows were canceled. Tours were scrapped. His name, once synonymous with power and respect, became toxic. Shekinah, she was dragged across the internet. Old clips of her friendship with Tiny were weaponized, turned into memes mocking her betrayal. Her reputation dissolved into scandal. But Tiny, she rose. Her image as the betrayed, resilient queen carried her above the ashes. Her every word became a rallying cry for women who had faced betrayal. The trial reached its climax with two devastating blows. First, a voicemail leaked.
T.I.'s desperate plea to Shekinah. "You're the only one who understands me. Don't let this get out." The courtroom froze. Tiny's scream echoed as she shouted, "You ruined us!" And then the final pages of the diary. Shekinah's cruel words mocking Tiny, belittling her. It was the final stab, the moment that sealed the narrative forever. Tiny whispered, "Why me?" And the world heard it as the most haunting cry of betrayal in recent celebrity history. The court adjourned. Tiny was carried out, sobbing. T.I. ducked boos as he left. Shekinah pushed through walls of hate. The empire was gone. Music pulled from shelves, boycotts trending, careers obliterated. Shekinah's name became synonymous with scandal, T.I.'s with betrayal. But Tiny? Tiny was crowned a survivor, a queen lifted by the love and sympathy of millions. The most heartbreaking image of all was Tiny with her daughter, whispering lessons of strength through tears. The photo went viral, captioned simply, "Unbreakable Royalty." As the dust settles, one truth remains. This wasn't just another Hollywood scandal. This was a family torn apart in the harshest spotlight imaginable. Love was shredded. Friendships were stabbed in the back. Children were left scarred. And while fans were entertained, a real family was gutted on the world stage. However, the video didn't stay hidden for long. Once it leaked online, social media did what it always does. It spread like wildfire. TikTok exploded with stitches pairing the scandalous footage with old interviews of Tiny talking about loyalty, marriage, and her bond with Shekinah. Twitter erupted into a storm of heartbreak emojis and hashtags like "Justice for Tiny" and "Exposed," climbing to the top of the trending lists within hours. Instagram Reels dissected every second of the clip, analyzing the body language, the setting, the betrayal written across every frame. What might have once stayed behind closed doors became a global spectacle, turning a family tragedy into content for millions. And here's the thing about the internet. It doesn't forget. Fans began digging through old interviews, old social media posts, and past videos, pulling together a timeline that painted T.I. not as the loyal family man he claimed to be, but as someone who had been hiding secrets in plain sight. The contrast between his public image and the private betrayal made the scandal hit harder than anyone could have imagined. What was once whispered gossip became a digital earthquake, breaking down walls of trust and shattering the carefully crafted image of a hip-hop power couple. But if you thought Tiny would simply fade into the background, retreat in silence, and let the world speculate, think again. Tiny is not the type of woman to crumble quietly. She didn't post vague Instagram captions or drown her heartbreak behind closed doors. Instead, she walked straight into a courtroom, with her head held high, pain etched into her face but determination in every step. And she wasn't there just to quietly dissolve her marriage, she went nuclear.
Tiny filed what would soon be called the betrayal lawsuit of the decade, a jaw-dropping $50 million claim against both T.I. and Shekinah. $50 million wasn't just a number, it was a statement. A price tag on decades of loyalty destroyed, on a home ripped apart, on a dignity shredded in front of millions of strangers watching online. The courtroom instantly became the biggest stage in America, cameras flashing, reporters fighting for every word, and fans following each development as if it were the latest season of a hit reality show. The accusations hit like daggers: emotional abuse, public humiliation, a carefully constructed empire built on family values, torn apart by betrayal. And just when the public thought they had heard it all, Tiny's legal team dropped the bombshell that turned whispers into hard proof. First came the audio recording, a man's voice, unmistakably T.I.'s, whispering to Shekinah, "Just keep it quiet, Tiny can never know. If this gets out, everything I built is gone." The words rang out in the courtroom like a confession. Gasps echoed through the gallery, reporters scrambled to tweet it out in real time, and Tiny, unable to hold back the flood of emotion, buried her face in her hands as the audio played. Then came the hotel receipts, black and white proof of reservations under T.I.'s name, with Shekinah listed as his guest.
Dates, times, and locations, no ambiguity, no wiggle room, just cold, hard evidence. The jury didn't need to say a word. Their faces told the story. What was once gossip was now betrayal in ink and paper. But the storm didn't stop there. The real drama erupted when Shekinah herself took the stand. Trembling but defiant, she locked eyes with Tiny and spoke the words that cut like knives. "I never wanted to hurt you. You were my sister. But T.I. promised me everything. He said he'd leave you. He said I was the one." His voice cracked, tears spilling down her cheeks. But sympathy was in short supply. Tiny's legal team pounced, presenting private DMs allegedly sent by Shekinah to T.I., messages that made it clear she wasn't just a passive participant, but an active conspirator. One read like a dagger straight to Tiny's chest. "Cliff, I can't wait until she's out of the picture. It's finally going to be just us." The courtroom erupted. Reporters ran outside to blast the headlines. Social media froze, then exploded. Suddenly, Shekinah wasn't just the other woman. She was a plotter, a backstabber, a betrayer of the highest order. Tiny, through sobs, turned to the judge and cried, "How much more do I have to see? How much more can a woman take?" The clip of her breakdown went viral instantly, dubbed by fans as one of the most raw, heartbreaking moments ever caught on camera. And just when you thought the spectacle couldn't get any darker, it did. A hotel employee testified, calmly and firmly, that he personally checked T.I. and Shekinah in together on multiple occasions. That was the breaking point. T.I. snapped. He slammed his fist against the table and shouted, "They're lying. This is all lies. I'm being set up." The judge warned him about contempt, but it was too late. The outburst was already caught on camera, and by nightfall, it was everywhere. Millions of views, captions reading, "The empire crumbles." Outside the courthouse, chaos reigned. Protesters lined the streets with signs reading, "Justice for Tiny," and "Ban the betrayers." Murals of Tiny began appearing on city walls, her image becoming a symbol of survival. Influencers live-streamed every development, turning the trial into a national obsession. What was once a family tragedy had transformed into a Shakespearean play, performed in real time for millions to dissect. And then came the final bombshell: bank records. Transfers of tens of thousands of dollars from T.I.'s accounts straight into Shekinah's over and over again. The implication was explosive. This wasn't just about love or lust. This looked like hush money. Tiny audibly gasped when the projector lit up with the numbers. The jury's jaws dropped, and Shekinah, breaking down under the weight of it all, screamed through her tears, "It wasn't about money. I loved him. I thought he loved me back." But the world wasn't convinced. Critics called it the performance of a lifetime. Fans dragged her across social media, turning her breakdown into memes. Her reputation, once merely tarnished, was now completely destroyed.